You want to know my top 3 concerns for the season? Stay tuned. Hello and welcome to Big Dash Knows. Big Dash knows what? New York Giants football. Let's go. Today's video is going to be about my top 3 concerns going into the 2022 season. And with this new regime, there's been a lot of optimism, but as Giants fans, we still have questions about this team going into this season. So please hit the subscribe button, and without any further ado, let's get into this. One of my top concerns going into this 2022 season is the offensive line's chemistry. And right now we're looking at possibly 3 to 4 new starters on this offensive line, and rightfully so. Andrew Thomas is coming back off injury. He looks good. If you saw those videos he posted working out, his ankle looks good. He looks healthy. So I can't wait to see him back in training camp and out of that red jersey. But after that, at left guard, you got possibly Shane Lemieux or the rookie Joshua Ezeudu. Then at center, you have Jon Feliciano, guy we picked up, came over here from Buffalo with Brian Daboll. Has experience in the system and with the verbiage. But also, he's an older guy, 1-year contract. Stopgap guy. After that, we have our free agency pickup in Mark Glowinski, guy we picked up from the Colts, veteran. Gave him a 3-year deal, so we expect him to be the starter for the next few years. And then at right tackle, we have the the first round draft pick at number 7, Mr. Evan Neal out of Alabama. Now, if you saw the interviews that Mark Glowinski gave, he was raving about Evan Neal. Said he was a monster of a man, said he was a quick study. He never has to tell him the same thing twice. So that's all things that you love to hear, especially with a guy coming out of college with that kind of talent, but also willing to learn from veterans. So that's just a great combination to have. Now, again, last year during the preseason, you saw that Joe Judge did not play this offensive unit as a whole in getting snaps during the preseason. And what did it cost us? These guys were not looking good the whole season. And I think building this chemistry early within the preseason training camp, things like that, is going to help us kickstart for that week 1 matchup against the Tennessee Titans. So hopefully this team can get that chemistry. We can figure out who's going to be that left guard, who's going to be in that left guard spot. Is it Joshua Ezeudu? Is it Shane Lemieux? Right now it looks like Lemieux is leading in that competition. And he also has chemistry with Andrew Thomas. So, again, let's just hope that these guys can play together, especially in that second preseason game against the Bengals. That'll be the game where a lot of the starters get left in, a lot longer. And hopefully we look good, in that game against, the Bengals. They played in the Super Bowl last year. What better way to gain some experience is by playing, the AFC champions from last year. So I'm looking forward to that in this preseason. Our offensive line gaining that chemistry. My next concern is going to be the red zone scoring. Now, the Giants have been awful, terrible, and ugly in the red zone in regards to touchdowns. I believe in 2019 we were ranked 17th, which is middle of the pack. Okay, that's cool. Then in 2020, once Judge came and Garrett came, we dropped to 31. And then last year in 2021, we were dead last. We couldn't even get 50% red zone scoring. We were at 44% in touchdowns in the red zone, and that is just awful, terrible. So one thing I did notice with this new regime, with Daboll and Kafka, is that all throughout OTAs, all throughout minicamp, a lot of that work has been in the red zone. And I can only assume that that's going to continue going into, training camp, working in the red zone. Now, one thing I will say is that a lot of that work was being made with backup wide receivers, since a lot of our starters and, top of the depth chart guys were in red jerseys. Golladay, Tony, Shep, of course. These guys wasn't getting that work, but you saw that the lower depth chart guys, receivers, were getting touchdowns in the red zone. So it goes to show me that even though the starters were not in there as far as the receivers go, these quarterbacks were still getting that work and getting those targets in, to these receivers in the red zone. You would think that with the pickup of Kenny Golladay and Kyle Rudolph last year, that the percentage would have went up in the red zone. These are big guys, big targets in the red zone, but surprisingly so, Kenny Golladay didn't get a lot of targets in the red zone, which was an absolute mistake in my opinion. I think this year, whenever we're in the red zone, this guy's going to get those targets. He's a big body wide receiver, 6'4", almost 220 pounds. Let him box somebody out. Give him those 50-50 balls. Let him make plays. That's what we pay him all that money for, right? Also, you see that the receivers are getting worked. The running backs are getting worked in the passing game as well down there in the red zone. So I think Daboll saw a deficiency within the Giants offense in the red zone, and he's working towards making that hopefully a strength in this upcoming season. So that was my second concern, was the red zone scoring. The last concern I want to mention, in this video is going to be about this defensive secondary. Obviously, with Wink Martindale coming over with his aggressive blitzing scheme, one of the concerns is that he leaves his cornerbacks on islands out there, and that is true. The guy does lean or give a lot of responsibility to his cornerbacks to be out there and hold their own against their competition. But one thing that Wink didn't have that we have here in the Giants is we have Azeez Ojulari, and we got the rookie Kayvon Thibodeaux, who we believe is going to be one of the better pass rushers, that we picked up in a long time. So hopefully with these guys getting pressure just in a regular base front without these elaborate blitzes, it takes away a lot of that pressure on the corners. Maybe you don't have to leave them on such big islands by themselves with these receivers, because you can get home and you don't have to worry about blitzing cornerbacks or blitzing safeties and things like that. You get home with your front, and I believe our front seven is talented enough to get to the quarterback. Again, like I said, we have Azeez Ojulari, we have Kayvon Thibodeaux, Leonard Williams. Dexter Lawrence seems like he's moving to the nose tackle, which I'm so excited to see him at the nose tackle. I think is way overdue. But if these guys can get that pressure in base, then it takes away from having to run these crazy stunts and elaborate blitzes, and ultimately helps your cornerbacks in their defensive scheme. So again, that's my three concerns. Just to recap those: one is going to be the offensive line's chemistry. Two is going to be red zone scoring, and lastly is the secondary. And I think with practice and with in preseason and training camp, a lot of those concerns are going to be addressed and worked on. So again, if you agree with me, please put the comments down below. If you disagree with me or have other concerns that you want to mention, also please put those in the comments down below. I just want to thank you guys for vibing with me. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And from one Giants fan to another, this is Big Dash Knows, Big Blue Nation. Let's go.